Hey everybody, it's Tim from Tadabase here, and this is Build It with Tim. On today's episode, we're going to be going back to basics and covering some core foundational knowledge in regards to building Tadabase apps and how you can work your users through some sort of login and log out flow. To do this, we're going to be using login redirect rules and logout redirect rules, which are native features inside of Tadabase. It's important to talk about these features and to configure these features because it can become a serious roadblock for not only you as a builder, but also your end users of the application. So let's get started talking about login and logout redirect rules. Now, before we actually get into the builder and start working on these redirect rules, we need to talk about this diagram a little bit just to discuss how the actual process should work in theory, both for Tadabase and just in general for app development. When users are coming to your application and they intend to log in and start using the application, the flow is going to look something like this. Now, you could have a custom domain assigned to your app like app.mycompany.com, or you could be using the default predefined Tadabase domain, which goes something like your account name.tadabase.io / your app name. These are the root level URLs to access your application. While these two might look different, what they have in common is that neither one of them actually has a page at the end of the URL. Okay, there is no home page or anything listed here at the end of this URL. What this means is that when we are building out our application, we need to use the homepage feature inside of Tadabase in order to set a homepage. You can do so by going to any one of your pages, and you'll notice a star next to your current homepage. Now, by default, the login page is going to be the homepage. If you'd like to change this, you can simply navigate to the page you intend to be the homepage, click on Settings, and then enable Homepage and Save. What the homepage does is that it tells Tadabase which page the user needs to land on when entering a URL that does not already contain a page name. All right, with that little explanation out of the way, let's start from the beginning and just walk through this whole thing. A user enters in a URL in order to access your application. If there is no page at the end of the URL, they are redirected to the home page. Now, the home page by default is the login page, so it is possible that these two things could be the same. However, it is not required that they are the same thing. So you could land on a home page, and then the user needs to navigate to some sort of login page. Now, by default, Tadabase has a login page with a login component, so you do not need to set up your own. Once the user gets to the login page, they are then going to fill out the login component with their username and password in order to log into the application. Now, from here, we intend to send those users to a specific location inside the application depending on their user role. Okay, this is where login redirect rules come into play. If somebody logs in and they are listed as a staff member or a staff user role, we need to send them to the staff dashboard. If they log in and they are an administrator, we need to send them to the admin dashboard. And if somebody logs in and they are a customer, then we need to send them to the customer dashboard. These three items here, staff, admin, and customers, are user roles. User roles are going to work in conjunction with the login redirect rules so that Tadabase knows which path to send users to when they log in through a login component. Okay, now once somebody's on a page and they're working inside of their application, at any point if they log out or they are not authorized to view a page, we are then going to send them back to the login page. All right, so I hope that makes sense, and I think it will make more sense once we go into the builder and start to configure all of these things where we can see them in real life and in a practical sense. Okay, so here we are in our builder now for our sample application. I'm inside of our page builder, and I'm looking at the login page, which is a default Tadabase page with a login component that is currently set to be the app homepage. Additionally, inside this application, I have two layouts. I have a default layout and I have an admin layout. I have a default dashboard inside the default layout, and I have an admin dashboard page inside the admin layout. Going to my users table inside the data builder, you'll see that we have two users. We have an admin and we have a default user. So the intention here is just as that diagram displayed, we want them to log in and then land in the appropriate page based on the app design and their user role that's been assigned to them. To configure login redirect rules, all we need to do is click on our login component to begin editing that login component. We can then navigate to the Login Redirect Rules tab at the top of the page and then click to add a new redirect rule. There are two things that we need to configure when setting up login redirect rules, and that is what role are we checking and what page are we sending them to if that condition is met. So we're going to say if role is default role, we're going to send them to the default dashboard. We can then add a second rule to say if the role is admin, we're going to redirect them to the admin dashboard. Now, you may have noticed when I clicked that drop down, there is an option for all users. So if there is a case where you don't care what role they are, you just want to send them to some sort of main landing page where then they can decide where they need to go, you can select all users and redirect them to anywhere that you wish. Additionally, inside of these redirect rules, we do have the option to redirect to an app homepage. Once we've configured our redirect rules, all we need to do is update and save that component, and our redirects are now complete. Now, this is half of the puzzle according to this diagram that I set up earlier. There is two other scenarios that we need to account for here in terms of when somebody logs out, we need to get them back to the login page so that they can start again. The idea here is that we never want a user to actually have to manually enter in a page name. We always want some sort of way inside the application where they can either click on a page to go there or they are intelligently directed to a page depending on certain conditions. Let's start with the logging out first. Inside of our layouts, we have the user menu, which gives the user special links to log in, log out, and view their profile. If I click on that user menu to start editing it, you'll notice similarly to login redirect rules, we now have log out redirect rules. We can add a new redirect rule and just say all users can go to the login page. Similarly, we'll do that on the administrator layout so that they have the same rules created for their role in the pages that they are currently looking at. The second scenario that we need to account for when it comes to getting somebody back to the login page is if somebody is not authorized to view a page. Now, in our current setup here, none of these pages or layouts have any permissions or security settings configured, so we'll need to do that first. I'm going to go into each layout and I'm going to click on the security tab, and we will specify that only somebody with a specific role can access this page. Then we can select an action for non-authorized users. So this could be somebody who doesn't have the correct role or is not logged in at all. We'll simply choose redirect to another page, and then we'll select the login page just like we would for any sort of other redirect rule. We'll do the same thing again on the admin layout. Only users with specific roles, in this case the admin role, can view the pages within this layout because layout security applies to every page within. And then we'll redirect to the login page. And that's it for our app configuration. Let's go ahead and enter into our application so that we can actually see what this looks like. I'm going to log in with this test email address here. Now, this is the test account for a default user. So this is going to take us to the default user layout. You can see that when we logged in, it sent us to the default dashboard. We did not have to click to navigate anywhere. We intelligently sent the user where they needed to go based on our login redirect rules that we set up in our login component. And when we're finished working inside of our application, we can head up to the user menu in order to log out. That'll trigger our logout redirect rule and we'll be sent back to our login page where we can start again. All right, so as you can see, this is really important to set up inside of your Tadabase application so that users have a proper flow and seamless experience when using the actual app. Users need to be directed where they need to be in order to get their work done efficiently. And as an app builder, we want to use every feature we possibly can to eliminate possible roadblocks. All right, so that's it for today's episode of Build It with Tim, and we'll see you next time. Take care.